Welcome back to this week's Tarotcast. And guys, before we get into this, don't be shy. You can subscribe to this account, share it with your friends, and for the first 500 people that like this video, they will personally be visited by the Queen of Cups and be given a good old hug. Results may vary. Anyway, let's get into it and let's have a look at the collective. For the collective this week, we have the Page of Swords. Well, the collective kicked off this month with the World card. Now, this week we're stepping into the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is inviting us to learn more about what's going on, particularly about our thought patterns. And this, being related to the world, could be something along the lines of really having a look at how we achieved to get our place to the world here, what it is we did, and how we might be able to do it again in the future, and how we can do it different ways and improve on what we're doing. So the Page of Swords here is asking us to go into this with some curiosity, go into it with some enthusiasm, that childlike wonder, and understand that we want to learn more and we want to build this mental body just a little bit more. Aries, this week you have the Eight of Pentacles. Now Aries, you started off this month with the Devil, so there could be a fair bit of work needed to overcome whatever it is that's going on right now. So whatever temptations that might be going on, whatever kind of self-destructive behavior that you might be able to start recognizing now, this is a card that would be suggesting that maybe you've got that opportunity to really start working through it. And it's going to be a process that you're going to have to continue. And it might not necessarily be a fun one, definitely not dealing with the Devil, and the Eight of Pentacles even suggests that it might become a little bit boring and monotonous, but do understand that once you start getting to a place of boredom and monotony with what you're doing, you're actually starting to ingrain it into your subconscious so well that you're becoming a master of it. So this week, going forward, you really have an opportunity of like fixing things and really ingraining it into the subconscious. Taurus, this week, you have the King of Cups. Kicking off this month, Taurus, you had the Magician. Last week you had the Ten of Swords, which might have been a bit of a low, but it should have taught you quite a few lessons along the way. Now we're stepping into the place of the King of Cups. And the King of Cups, he's a very emotionally stable individual. In fact, he can help people around him. He is like the rock that people can come to, that can really lean on. There's a shoulder provided for them. He's a person that also knows that there's a time and a place for him to express his emotions. He doesn't block it out, but he definitely understands what's going on, why it's happening, what are the causes of these things, and he definitely expresses himself in the right time and the right place. So now's the time to really ground those emotional energies and really step up into a more stable place. Gemini, this week you have the Ten of Wands. So Gemini, you kicked off this month with the High Priestess, and last week you had the Page of Wands. Now the Page of Wands was asking us to actually grow something, build on something, learn a bit more about our passions and creativity. Now with the Ten of Wands, this might be actually implying that we might have actually taken on a bit too much. We might have bitten off more than we can chew. So at this point, this is a place of finding a bit of instability, and this could be maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back. Now, if we want to be referring to the High Priestess of the beginning of the month, we want to be trusting our intuition here. We might have to put down some of the load, because if we continue to try and hold on to it, we could collapse under that pressure. So we might need to lighten our load. We might need to abandon some of the responsibilities we have. Maybe we can delegate them to other people, but we want to look within ourselves. Ask the High Priestess within ourselves, what is it truly that we need to hold on to, and what do we need to let go so that we can carry on properly? We need to trust our intuition during this time. Cancer, this week you have the Eight of Swords. Now Cancer, you did have the Judgment card at the beginning of this month, so there was a lot of reflection that is going on, but now we're stepping into this week, we're stepping into the energy of the Eight of Swords, which is the energy of being stuck. This is this stagnated energy. So with what's been going on, maybe you've been going through a bit of self-reflection, you've been looking at your highs and your lows, and maybe the lessons that have been going on, it looks like you've been stepping into a place of feeling stuck and you can't move forward. There might be something that you need to reflect on, that you might be having trouble looking at and moving forward from them, and maybe understanding what is that lesson that was meant to be learned from maybe some particular hardship that happened, or why did something work out in your favor when it just kind of happened out of the blue? Were you manifesting something? It looks like you really need to spend a bit more time. Now we do have that Swords energy, which is very much that mental energy. So we want to be looking at maybe those logical patterns that were working during this time. Also remember, if we do want to set ourselves free, there is an element of looking at the truth. Remember, the truth is the key that's going to set us free. Leo, this week you have the Magician. Well, Leo, this is some big energy because the beginning of this month you did get the Wheel of Fortune. So we had fate, we had destiny coming our way, and we had a bit of trouble last week with the Two of Swords. But it looks like you've seemed to overcome this because we're stepping into a place of full potential. We have all the tools at our disposal to be able to manifest what it is we want. Now, we've obviously got the level of faith. We've got that. We've got the Wheel of Fortune coming through. So we want to be looking closely at what's been happening around us. These things, these cause and effect situations. And while we're putting this energy of manifestation into that, we really want to focus on this. We want to use gratitude for the things that have happened to us. We want to be aware of these things, and going forward, let's really step into that place of the Magician. Lots of gratitude, lots of energy to manifest what we want. Virgo, this week you have the Four of Wands. Well, Virgo, it looks like this week is going to be working out fairly well for you because we did kick off the month with the Justice card, which meant there were some big decisions that needed to be made. And last week was the Five of Wands, which meant there was a bit of conflict and a bit of challenge in doing so. But it looks like things have been turning out well for you. We are stepping into a place of stability, a place where we can actually celebrate where we are with this stability that's going on. So it looks like there might be some decisions that have been made and they've been the correct ones, and people are starting to see what decisions you've made, and they're starting to acknowledge what's been going on. So this would be a good week for that time of celebration. Libra, this week you have the Six of Pentacles. Now, Libra, this month you are working with the Strength card. We are looking deep within ourselves to find the strength of kindness and compassion. And with this card, this is about giving and receiving. It is about being fair in that as well. So there could be a situation where you need to find the strength to actually share in a situation, or maybe give help in a situation maybe that you normally wouldn't. Maybe you need to set some kind of biases aside to actually do what you know is right and what is fair, and maybe help some other people out. But we've also got the receiving energy of this card as well, and this is very important. You might need to find that strength to actually set the ego aside to allow yourself to receive. Maybe you might be so strong with this monthly energy thinking, I'm so strong, I don't need this help. But the truth is, maybe you do need a little bit of help. And it's actually going to be an even stronger act of your character to actually open your arms, open your hands, and receive what is coming your way. Scorpio, this week you have the Nine of Pentacles. Now, Scorpio, your monthly card is the Tower, so it looked like there was a bit of destruction going on, but it seems like you're starting to build things up pretty quickly, because last week we did have the Queen of Cups, and now we've got the Nine of Pentacles, which is putting ourselves into a place of abundance. Now, this could be an abundance of ability to actually start to rebuild what it was that was torn down in the first place at the beginning of the month. Now, when we are working with abundance and we are bringing this in, we need to work with a lot of gratitude as well. So make sure you are putting yourself in a place of a lot of gratitude. And as you start to do this more and more, you'll actually be able to see what it is that is abundant around you. And with that abundance, this is going to help you start to rebuild that tower that did come down in the first place. Sagittarius, this week you have the Fool. Well, Sagittarius, this month is all about the moon. It's about diving into our subconscious and having a look at our shadow self. Now, last week we did have the Two of Wands, which was about looking into the future and seeing the potential that we have. We've now got the Fool, and the Fool is encouraging you to take that leap of faith. Yes, last week you were possibly looking at certain things in developing yourself, overcoming some certain fears. Now the Fool is saying that this is the time that you need to face them. It's time to take that leap of faith. Do not be afraid anymore. The Fool takes that leap of faith into the unknown. He goes into it with optimism and with excitement, because he knows in doing so, he's going to reach his full potential. Capricorn, this week you have the Chariot. Now, Capricorn, you are in the sun energy with this month, which is great. It's a great energy to work with. And last week, you did have the Page of Swords, so there was this potential of a lot of ideas coming your way and learning a little bit more about maybe how your mind ticks, or maybe philosophizing about some things that are out there. But now we've got the Chariot, and the Chariot is asking us to really take some action. Use that joy and happiness and that high energy, that high vibrational energy that you've been working with this month, and use that stuff that you've learned from last week with the Page of Swords, and we want to start charging forward with this. We need to make some solid decisions. We have to put some things in action. We got to make these wheels start turning. So ask yourself, what is it? What is it that was coming through last week that now needs to be put into action? What gears need to start turning? Aquarius, this week you have the Hangman. Now, Aquarius, you are in that Empress energy this month. So we do have a lot of that divine feminine energy, a lot of compassion and kindness energy that you're working with. Now we've got the Hangman coming through, and there's a chance of a shift of perspective. Now, with this shift of perspective going forward, we don't want to be afraid of stepping outside our comfort zone. There may even be some kind of level of sacrifice that might be needed. Now, maybe this being that it's in the same energy of the Empress, that we need to be working with kindness and forgiveness and sharing. There might be something coming up that could be a little bit difficult for you to do. You might see it as a little bit daunting, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable to deal with a certain situation. But the divine feminine in yourself is what you want to be working with. And in doing so, this is going to take you to a new place. It's going to give you a new perspective on a certain topic. It's going to give you a new outlook on moving forward, which is going to make things easier in the future. Pisces, this week you have the Emperor. Now, Pisces, this month you are working with the Chariot energy. There are some big decisions that need to be made. We need to be very focused about it. Last week we did have the King of Wands, which was about our passions, but again, that divine masculine energy. And here we are again with the Emperor. So this month is shaping up to have a lot of divine masculine energy. We need to be looking at some structures. We want to be looking at the routines that we have in place. Now, with that Chariot energy at the beginning of the month, we should have been putting some actions into place, into moving forward. How are we going to progress? Where is it that we're going? And the Emperor is telling us to remember to stay focused, stay on task, stay up to speed with our plans, what we're doing. Make sure that we're still focused with what we're doing. And that's this week's Tarotcast, guys. So if you did enjoy it, do hit that like button. You can share this with a friend. And if you haven't already subscribed, why haven't you subscribed? Either way, guys, I'm going to see you next week. So till then, big love. Ciao.